Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I'm here to talk about The Enchanted by Rene Denfield. This was published in 2014 and the edition that I read had 256 pages. This is Rene Denfield's debut novel, and I was urged to read this by a few people, but most adamantly Ginny from Adultish Books, and I will leave a link to her book review in the description below. And while I'm mentioning excellent reviews of this book, I'll also point you in the direction of Mercedes, who provided excellent insight into this book that I hadn't even thought of. So check out the description if you want to check it out. This was also one of my buddy reads for the year, and I read it with a wonderful group of ladies. This book takes place in what our narrator calls an enchanted place. It is actually an old stone prison, and our narrator is a death row inmate who finds solace in the pages of books. And somehow, even though he is contained inside of a tiny cell, he is able to tell us the stories of other people who are within the prison system, including a death row investigator who is only ever referred to as the Lady. Also, we see the story of a fallen priest and a shady prison guard. Throughout the novel, while sharing these stories, he also shares magical visions of little men in the walls and golden horses stampeding through the prison grounds. These magical visions, although they seem totally unrealistic to the logical mind, are presented in such a way that they feel real. Whether or not they're real is up to you to decide. I read this book about 2 months ago, and I still cannot manage to nail down exactly how I feel about it. First of all, the writing in this book is absolutely captivating and magical, but also very accessible and easy to read. It took me a couple of weeks to read this because of the nature of the buddy read, but I could have easily sat down and read this in one sitting. Also, the beautiful writing somehow managed to mask the terrible and horrible things that happen in this book, because those kind of things are expected in the prison setting. But the interesting thing is Denfield never goes into any kind of graphic detail and leaves it up to your imagination, which in a way makes it a little easier to deal with, but in a way it really doesn't. Another aspect of this novel that I really enjoyed was the parallels drawn between prisoners and criminals and people outside of the prison system. I really enjoyed how it delved into those aspects of humanity. And although there was tons of darkness in this book, it somehow managed to end on a hopeful note, showing that people can come through the darkness and back into the light. Also, this book made me way more interested to read more books in a similar setting, so if you do have recommendations for books like that, please feel free to share them. There was something about this book that kept me from absolutely loving it. I still can't put my finger on it. I think it may have been that even though most of the characters felt real and their stories were interesting, I still managed to not become invested in them, and I felt some kind of disconnect. And it wasn't necessarily because I couldn't relate to them, because I know that that's not important. I just felt towards the end of the novel I didn't really care how it ended. But don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed this book, and I would recommend it to anyone who's interested in this, especially if you're looking for something that delves into the darkness of humanity, but with a magical twist to it. But as I mentioned before, if you would like some more interesting insight into this book, please feel free to check out Mercedes and Ginny's videos. I will leave them linked down below. As always, please feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with a new video.